Hi guys, quick little update for you on what at this stage is the new addition to Apple iOS, the 14.5 update. Now it's May 3rd, so if you watch this in a few weeks time it might all be old hat knowledge, but right now the iOS 14.5 has only been out since April 26th, 10 days, and I thought I'd just give a quick rundown on how I understand it to be going to affect things. Particularly Facebook will be affected, but a majority of what I'm doing is Google, YouTube stuff, so I'm more focused on that in this particular situation. So obviously it's an iOS update. Currently it only affects Apple mobile phones. What it's going to do is insist that all apps on the phone that track your advertising have to put up a form moving forward saying, do you accept advertising tracking? And this by default will block what's called the IDFA, which is the ID for advertisers. So by default it will block all that. Currently, prior to 14.5, it was a default system that it would allow the IDFA to be turned on, and by default advertisers could put pixels on the phone and track it. Now by default it will be turned off, and you have to opt in to allow for the IDFA to be turned on. So tracking, and a majority, of course, when you get a thing on your phone that says, do you want to allow advertisers to track you? Most people are going to go, hell no. And that's what we can expect. On the flip side of that, research says that like 83% of people do in fact like being tracked, because then they get more relevant advertising put in front of them. So if people, otherwise we're going backwards to sort of the older days where it was just blanket advertising. You get an ad coming on your YouTube for shampoo when you're bald. So there is definitely advantages for people to have the IDFA turned on and the tracking allowed, but obviously that instant reaction when you get it is, no way, I don't want them to know stuff about me. So let's see what else. So how's it going to affect things? Well, search ad performance won't be affected much because that's very much keyword based. And keyword tracking stuff, or keyword based advertising, won't be affected all that much because they enter in the keyword and you said show my ad to that keyword. So it's got not so much to do with the tracking of the person. It's more about the affinity audiences and those kind of audiences in market that know about people because they've watched their behavior and know what they're in the market to buy. Or the affinity audiences, over time they've been tracked as to the sort of websites they go to all the time and what they have an affinity with. If they block this, then it's harder for Google or anyone else to sort of track where they go and what they're getting up to. So if you're targeting those audiences, affinity audiences in market, life event, any of those kind of audiences, that's going to be much heavily more affected. Not so much immediately, but going forward. So you can expect smaller markets, smaller results in those areas, and also your retargeting after they come to your site, because if they've turned it off, then you don't get to track it. All this is really due to updated privacy laws in California. One state in the US has made all this happen, but it can be expected the rest of technology companies are going to follow suit, and so therefore we can expect to see this come through like the Google Chrome, not Google Chrome, the Google Play Store. What's the word? Android, that's the one I'm looking for. So to come through on Android sometime later as well, and Microsoft and the rest of the operating systems eventually adopting these. So to me, it's Apple's playing to the consumer, saying you're no longer getting tracked, but what it'll actually end up resulting in is less targeted advertising, so it makes it a bit harder for us online. But as a result, for the consumer, they're going to start getting ads that aren't even remotely relevant to them. And they may start to go, oh, look, it's just easier to, I might as well get ads. If I'm going to get advertised to, I might as well get ads for stuff I want. It's like back to the old days when you watch TV and there's the ad breaks, get up, make a cup of tea or do something else. The ads come on for curtains, cars, toothpaste, shampoo. You're not in the market for any of it, so it's a complete waste of time for everyone. Anyway, that's the update on the iOS 14.5 as at around about early May 2021.